Toad doesn't want to go out to work. He stays at home all day. He lies down and sleeps every day. When he's hungry, he eats flying insects. When it's thirsty, it drinks dew. Never stand if you can sit. If I can lie down, I don't sit. Even if it's raining or windy, it doesn't move. But the most annoying thing is, when it sees others enjoying a meal, he suddenly jumped out and lied that there was an eagle in the sky. The frogs were terrified. They jumped into the water for shelter, and while they were at it, he strides to the table and ate all the frogs' food in a few mouthfuls. As he worked hard all day long, his weight went from 10 kilograms to 30 kilograms. But the most fatal thing is, his ability to catch insects is gradually disappearing. Not only did he fail to catch the insects, instead, he was teased by the bugs in order to fill his stomach. He hid in the nest disguised as a bird, but the other birds are not stupid. He rushed to call his mother bird, and the mother bird doesn't take kindly to him. She threw him out of the nest. She threw him out and landed him on the grass. By coincidence, he's right in front of the ants' house. Look at the shivering ants. They're gathering food for the winter. The toad saw this. He had a plan. After knocking on the door, he pretends to be pitiful. He even left tears of sadness, trying to win the sympathy of the ants. The ants were kind-hearted too. Seeing him in such a pitiful state, the ants invited him to their home out of kindness. The toad was so kind. He opened the house and sat in it. The little ants didn't realize that this would be a decision they would regret. And so it was. The toad just said hello, and then his stomach growled. To make it even more graphic, he even pretended to faint. There was nothing else to do. The little ant could only offer him food. The toad is also very generous. He eats as much as he can. Soon there was a pile of empty plates on the floor. In no time at all, the ants have eaten all their food for the winter. But even so, he's still not satisfied. He wipes the grease from his mouth. He falls back to sleep. He plans to eat again the next day. The next morning, Auntie Ant woke him up and said there was no more food in the house. Now they have to go out to work. They wanted the toad to come home early. The toad lifted the house and took Auntie Ant to the pond, pointing to the small island in the center of the lake. That's where he lives, and said, "If you come to my house, I'll be sure to offer you a warm welcome." The toad had planned it well. The island is surrounded by water. You wouldn't have made it here anyway. But the ant god is a real man. He decided to gather the colony and take their food to his house. Although Toad's house is surrounded by water, but the ants were able to get through. When he saw the ants coming to visit, the toad was in a panic because he has no food to serve his guests. He had no choice but to lie. He lied and said he'd catch a big fish for them, but he stayed in the pond all day, from sunrise to sunset. Auntie Ant wiped her plate over and over again. She even used it as a mirror. The toad hadn't heard anything for a long time. Auntie Ant was very worried, so she asked the frog for help, but the frog told her what the toad had done, and that's when Auntie Ant realized the truth. They threw their dinner plates at the toad, and they never socialized with him again. And then, they tightened their belts again, and went home in pity. So here's the question, do you have friends like that?